Top of the SportsMax Zone, tip off with basketball. In the early stages of the 2021-22 season, the NBA unveiled its 75th anniversary team, which comprised iconic players that changed the way the game is now played. Manchester United just scored, equalized, yes. There was no particular order to the NBA's list, but sports broadcasting company ESPN have gone ahead to rank the players. They used a panel of experts who voted on thousands of head-to-head matchups, factoring both the quality and quantity of each player's contribution. As expected, the list has raised many eyebrows. Players were listed in the order that the panel thought they influenced the game. Before we show you the top 15 on the list, it comes as no surprise that some big names missed the cut, but these three in particular never made it on the NBA's top 75 and left some pundits dumbfounded. Let's go. We're talking about Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter, Air Canada, and Big Ben Wallace. Later in the segment, we'll get into that. Now, here's the top 15 as ranked by ESPN. So, 15, Moses Malone. 14, Dr. J. Julius Erving. 13, The Dream, Hakeem Olajuwon. 12, Kevin Durant. 11, Shaq. 10, Kobe. 9, the former triple-double leader, Oscar Robertson, before he was eclipsed by the man Russell Westbrook. 8, Tim Duncan. 7, Larry Bird. 6, Bill Russell. 5, Wilt Chamberlain. 4, Irvin Magic Johnson. 3, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. 2, LeBron James. And 1, Michael Jordan. So that's the top 15. Many discussion points here. The inclusion of Anthony Davis at 71 or 71st and Carmelo Anthony at 69th. Joining us now to discuss the team is our NBA analyst, Alister Albert. Alister, your thoughts on the three we highlighted as notable omissions firstly, McGrady, Carter, and the Big Ben.
Hi there, guys. Yeah, good night. And just before I start off, just wanted to say happy Independence Day to St. Lucia. And it was yesterday, 43 years anniversary of independence. But yeah, so I also definitely thought there were some exclusions that were a bit shocking and telling. The three guys that you guys mentioned are very notable honorary mentions. I think, they definitely do deserve to be in. And I suppose if the NBA is definitely going to go forward with a top 100 list, they should be included as well. But the ones I actually had a look at that I thought were probably even more deserving of going in were guys like Tony Parker and Dwight Howard, and even somebody like Manu Ginobili. But your three are definitely guys that, are definitely worthy of contention. Vince Carter, of course, if you see you talking about the influence of the game, his high-flying dunks, the level of entertainment, what he meant to Toronto and Canada as a whole, there's the excitement that he brought to that city, carrying that team. Tracy McGrady, of course, he was just a dynamic scorer, explosive in Orlando. His career, I suppose, got short, and maybe that's why he got excluded because of injuries that kind of took hold later on in his career. And Ben Wallace, that's a very interesting one you guys gave, 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, champion with Detroit in 2004. Very worthy selections, but, I had my eyes on a couple others that I thought maybe might make the cut even before these guys.
All right. What do you make of the top 15, though? No surprise in terms of who's number one. What do you have from 2 to 15 in that order?
Yeah, I think when you get down to I had to actually consult the list because, there's quite a lot of names, as we know, that we just need to just keep an eye on. I think when you go down from 4 all the way down, that's when things start to change a little bit. I thought Magic Johnson at 4 was, fair enough. He did quite a lot, five championships with Los Angeles Lakers. He was responsible for, Showtime Lakers and the excitement that brought in the league at that time with Larry Bird and everything. But I actually thought if we really wanted to give credence to, rings and what, the impact that Bill Russell had on the league at that time, bringing it into the NBA from the merger from the ABA, and a black voice that kind of helped change society in itself. Not even just basketball; it's actually bigger than basketball with Bill Russell. 11 championship rings, player, coach, and everything that he accomplished on the court. I actually thought Bill Russell should have been number 4 and Magic at 5. I had a little bit of a discussion with guys and friends of mine. I was should Kobe be in the top 10? I wasn't too sure about that. I thought Shaquille O'Neal at number 11 probably should have been brought in. But then I had a look at the list again. I was like, you know what, let's be fair to Kobe. You know, Oscar Robertson is there on that list. And like we said, you know, he was the first guy who, you know, averaged a triple-double in the league. And, you know, that just showed his versatility as a player. But, you know, he has only one championship to his name. And when you talk about Shaquille O'Neal, 4 championships, Kobe, 5, Kevin Durant, 2, even Kevin Durant, 2, Steph Curry, 3. You know, these are guys who could probably even be considered in the top 10. And especially when you talk about influence, the way they played the game and how they changed the game, Shaquille O'Neal specifically and Steph Curry, you know, these guys probably warranted inclusion into the top 10 as well. And, you know, so yeah, there's a lot of, the list, when you do lists, it's always very subjective. I think they try to be very empirical and try to kind of look at stats and advanced stats and everything, but it all kind of came down to subjectivity, I believe. But there are definitely some that could have been switched around.
So, Alister, just now when you said, should Kobe be in the top 10, I feel like you definitely got my attention there. Is it that you're saying he shouldn't be in the top 10, or is it because I feel as if he should be higher up?
I think he should be in the top 10, but when I thought about the list, without thinking about impact of the game per se, and I know a lot of people are going to hate me for saying this, there are a lot of many Kobe fans in the world. You know, I kind of looked at his career in totality. Yes, he won 5 rings. Yes, you know, he had, you know, the major impact that he did coming into the league from 1996 all the way to when he retired. But when you look at the times when, you know, Kobe wanted to be the man. Kobe, you know, we know what the drama was with Shaquille O'Neal. He wanted to be the man. The team, of course, acquiesced and traded Shaquille O'Neal. You have a situation where now Kobe was the guy, couldn't make the playoffs in the first year, and the 2 years that followed, he got bounced out of the first round. So I looked out at his whole career in totality, and I thought, you know, those were blemishes that kind of brought down his leadership of the team. But of course, when you look at total accomplishments, you know, he definitely needs to be there. But I thought, you know, Shaq being the dominant player that he was from Orlando all the way down to, well, Miami, you know, he deserved maybe being in the top 10 a little more. But when I looked at the list again, I saw Oscar Robertson on there with 1 championship and 1 MVP. I thought, you know, Kobe could actually stay now. Let's bring Big O down.
Yeah, when you looked at the entire rankings, which player would you say was the most underrated?
Ooh, underrated. Oh, that's a good one. I think there are a few of them, like Steph Curry. I definitely, like we said, you know, at 16, of course, top 20, there's nothing to sneeze at with that. But the way he's changed the game, you know, everyone will point to, you know, the gravity that he creates being on the court, everyone taking half courts and no-go shots now, you know, his influence, like they say, as a criteria, you know, he at 16, I thought maybe could be a little higher, arguably maybe in the top 10. I saw guys like Scottie Pippen down at, you know, 32. I thought he probably could be a little bit higher. The one that really stood out for me that was really surprising, and I just have it really circled on my list there, was Dennis Rodman at number 6. You know, 5 NBA championships. You know, he led Defensive Player of the Year twice, led the league in rebounding 7 times. Yes, he was a very colorful character, a little bit enigmatic. He caused quite a lot of problems, but nobody could say that, you know, this guy was not impactful on the court. You know, down all the way down to, you know, next 67, next to Melo and AD. I thought that was a little bit disrespectful, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
You know, he probably should have been in the top 40, I think. But yeah, there are quite a few people who could have been moved if you look at it differently.
Right, Alister, when you were looking at the rankings, did the era in which these players compete have anything to do with how you viewed the list? Because I get the sense that, you know, obviously you would have your factors that you are looking at the list with. Was that any consideration for you?
Yeah, and I think if you just look at the top of the list and who's number 1, you will definitely say that was a factor, you know, for Michael Jordan being number 1. Well, of course, he was flawless in the finals, 6 MVPs, 6 championships and everything. But the path that he took to get to those championships, I think was just, you know, ridiculous. Having to go for the bad boy Pistons and, you know, just the level of physicality that he had to undertake. LeBron, of course, everybody argues, you know, he should be the GOAT. He should be, you know, the greatest player of all time. Number 2, people feel a bit of disrespected by that. But, the league was not really the same in terms of, physicality and everything. And, of course, he engineered his team slightly differently, being, slightly de facto GM. So, the era that the guys have played in terms of circumstances, how the player empowerment has kind of come into it. And, guys back in the 90s, the golden era, where I was kind of born and watched, the basketball. These guys just played hard-nosed basketball. They didn't really, demand trades and everything as much as we're hearing now. They just dealt the hand. They played with the hand that they were dealt, and, they just got on with it. So I think the era, definitely physicality, player empowerment and everything has a lot to do with it. But props to LeBron. Everyone thinks that, it's so disrespectful to be at number 2. But what he's done, you can't sneeze at number 2. But Mike, for me, definitely is number 1.
Yeah, people born yesterday would feel disrespected by LeBron's position on the list. There's no way LeBron James is the best player we've ever seen in basketball. Absolutely no. It's not even an argument. I don't know why we keep having it. Alister, thank you for your contribution. All the best to you. We'll talk again.
No problem, guys. See you later.
Good. Yeah, the 3 men left off the list, Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter especially. I'm not so hot on Ben Wallace. I think they should have been in the top 75. And I love him to death. He's arguably the best player in the league right now. But there is no way in the history of basketball Kevin Durant is the 12th best player who has ever played this game. Absolutely ridiculous. That is as false gets. There's no way. But again, you can't argue too much, and you can't slate the people who make these selections, because a pick like this will always be subjective, and it will always be hostage to currency. We're seeing LeBron now. I mean, look at some of the numbers we see. Michael Jordan, 6 championships. I just showed our basketball producer something today. The average of the man who has finished MVP in every year in the league from 1982 forward. Michael Jordan has it at 37.1 points. He averaged it in an 82-game season when 3-point shooting wasn't what it is now when the league was different. That's ridiculous, because you have the physical toll it takes on you to be able to do that. Yeah, LeBron has never averaged 30 points a season in an MVP season. Of course, he doesn't have as many as Mike. And I'm just saying that when you look at the raw numbers and the statistics, when LeBron James' career ends, whenever that is, and you have to give him credit for that, if it were to end on this day in sport, he'd end with 4 NBA titles and everything else he has in numbers.
Yeah.
When he's retired, those numbers won't look as good as they do now with him still playing. A lot of the players that he's competing against for a place in that top 75 don't have the benefit of currency. They're retired and long gone, and many people forget about them and haven't even checked what they did. So he benefits from that. But you'll never get a list that everybody's satisfied with.
Agreed. I'm okay with the list. I'm just not okay with the manner in which they're ranked. Like the numbers, I would have a couple of them change. But then again, it has a lot to what you say based on what I've seen. What I have seen will always be the best for me. It's difficult for me to judge based on the eras before. I mean, I know MJ is the boss, so I wouldn't even contest that. But, I'm seeing Steph Curry and I'm not seeing him in the top 10. Obviously, that would play a part when I do my ranking.
Yeah, I just think when you get numbers as high as 75, it's going to be fraught with conflict, because I think there is a certain level of clarity that you can get if you're trying to decide on like the top 5 or top 10. But when you go to 50 and 75 and 100, so many gray areas. As far as I'm concerned, it's going to be fraught with conflict, and so many middle-of-the-road outstanding players that it's going to be hard between that sort of listing to be sure about 50, 60, 70. I think it's a lot easier to focus on a top 10 or something like that when numbers tend to be more pronounced or profound or undeniable that you can argue over.
There's no question that you are correct. And this isn't tennis, where the debate about the greatest just revolves over Rafa 121, Djokovic 1, which is, and it's ridiculous.
Agreed.
Oh, so it's just the greatest winner of Grand Slams. Basketball is different. Yeah.
And remember, the rules change too.
Yep. SportsMax is giving away giving two lucky viewers the opportunity to watch 2 live NBA games this season. Participants must watch NBA games on either SportsMax or SportsMax 2 during this promotional period. Participants will be asked to find the hidden gems/icons by taking a picture of the entire TV screen while the gem is displayed and post to our Twitter handle, which is @sportsmax_carib, or to our IG stories, which is @sportsmaxtv, and tag SportsMax using all applicable hashtags. So hashtag SportsMaxNBA All Access 2022 Sweepstakes, that's the first one. Hashtag NBA Sweepstakes, hashtag Sweepstakes. Each gem correctly posted will count as one entry. Only one entry will be permitted per game. Gems will be displayed via pop-up animation in the lower right corner of the screen during the weekly games. Pages must be open to be viewed by the public, so if your profile is private, you need to change that. And participants must follow SportsMax on Twitter or IG based on the platform they used to participate in the promotion. I have a couple of people I'm going to draw their attention to this so they can get in the experience of watching a live NBA game.
So I can go with them. That's my plan.
Okay.
I know I can't. I'm disqualified from even participating. But you know what? You open up your profile and good luck.
Break time? Yeah, that's what we do. We're out for the first segment.